All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Vehicles and Videos. In the last episode, we talked about building a race car. So today we're going to talk about what we're going to kind of consolidate that and figure out, pinpoint what we want to build. Right, Bryn?
Yeah. I mean, it's you and I have raced together. We've shared cars. We've driven our own cars. We've always talked about it, and I think we're at the point where we just need to pull the trigger and get back into it.
Absolutely. Like you said, we've raced together. I think, I remember you autocrossing specifically, but I can't remember. Did you do any other races when we were younger?
No, autocross only. I've always had a desire to do rallycross, and it was done in the northeast of Pennsylvania region. And right as I was like, all right, cool, let me get into it, it went by the wayside, and they had all the equipment to do it, but they needed someone to run it, and I just so it existed, and now it didn't. But now you can actually race, do the rally cross in Harrisburg area.
Right. And so northern New Jersey does have some street legal rallies, road rallies they call them.
Yes, yeah.
I've done one or two of those. They're okay. They're not, to me, they're not a rally, right? It's like it's
Yeah,
definitely a scramble. It's more of a scramble to me, right? Like you get kind of like directions, you make this turn, it gets you used to the idea of rally racing, but it's not like driving 90 miles an hour on the dirt.
no,
Um,
it's not the same at all. You can take the rally out of it. You take the race and the rate. Well, yeah.
Well, and technically, with what Northern Jersey hosts, you're supposed to be able to do street street speed limits and be successful with the rally.
Right.
That's the idea behind it. Yeah, so I know I got into drag racing, and I don't remember you drag racing much.
I I
Um,
didn't drag race that much. I think you were still living in South Jersey, right next to Acco. I was living in Drexel Hill, and I did come a
yeah,
couple times. I had a Corrado that I raced, and I had
that's right.
and
Yeah.
I had a Jetta that I raced,
Yeah.
drag racing, but I never did it competitively. I just did it on like the fun nights thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The test and tunes on the Monday night or whatever
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
Yeah. Those are fun. I really miss those. It's unfortunate that Acco's closed down. It's unfortunate that
Yeah.
Englishtown is closed down. And personally, right now, I would definitely have something built, something to race if Englishtown was open. I would be drag racing.
Yeah, so it's my understanding Englishtown does drifting. Um,
Right. Yeah.
so
So and
Englishtown does drifting events and other things, but yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. And
and
there's
that's what's piqued my interest is on drifting is that Englishtown. I mean, it's not close by any means, but it's not far either. So
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing some drift events there, and just you know, uh, drifting. What's interesting from what I've looked into, you know, um, simply sliding your car, right? Like there's two different classes. Well, there's probably more than two, but there's like two different breakups, right? There's when you run doors and you're running against a competitor, and then there's like a solo where it's kind of like I guess it's more of like a time attack or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and uh, and The nice thing about drifting is basically they're like just throw like a bolt-in hoop in the car, that you can run your harnesses over and you're
Mhm.
good. You're golden. So it's like
Right.
so drifting to me of other things that we're going to talk about tonight. Currently, drifting seems like the cheapest option of building a car.
Yeah,
Um,
one of the things I was going to mention to you is if we pick the right car, because we haven't picked the car yet, we
yeah,
could essentially build a drift car just to get out there, and then use that same car to later on put the roll cage in and make a champ car.
right.
Uh, if we pick the right car,
That's true.
so you could, or if we pick the car, we could do some rallycross or some just autocross and just get out there and then make
Yeah.
sure we like the car, we like the platform, and then put the roll cage in and do other things. So
And
Yeah.
so I was thinking exact something similar to that, which is if I was thinking more along the lines of a champ car, right? You
Yeah.
build a champ car, and we've got the Hyde events at New Jersey Motor Park down south, right? We
Yep.
could do those. Um, Not necessarily the drift events, but in northern Jersey, there's the autocross events. They're huge courses. Like the one
Yeah.
downside of autocross I think for both of us, it was like the saying was, "This is the best 30 seconds you can spend with your clothes
Yeah.
on,"
If it
right?
was 47 seconds, it was a long course. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. Uh, I'm not
It
really
was just,
into,
it's so much fun for the price. And
yeah,
you can, at one point, almost every weekend for 6 months, 7 months of the year, you could find a race within a, 2 hours. Every single
right,
weekend you could race if you wanted to. So
yeah,
that's always nice because and it's affordable.
yeah. Now, so the one thing when you set up a drift car, one of the big things that they want you to do is they suggest is the angle kit. The angle kit, I'm going to put my hands in
Mm,
tighter. The angle
yeah,
kit brings the front wheels out a little bit more, and it allows when you turn, it
yeah,
allows your wheels to have more room so that it can turn further, right? It doesn't
yeah.
like when it locks out, it doesn't bind on any of the suspension parts or anything like that,
Mhm.
right? Um, so the one thing would be is with an angle kit, I'm kind of curious, like would we just have to adjust toe or camber,
So if we built
in
a
order to do some of these events or just run it?
no, I think if you're depending on what platform car or whatever, like the Nissan Zs or like the
Yeah,
Mustang or the BMWs are the three most common that I think what they do is they just change the lower control arms, and then they use longer, um, they use different tie rods to allow you to
yeah,
do that. So I mean, if you do 10 drift events or whatever, and then you want to switch it back to a race car, you just change the control arms and you put different tie rods and
very
do
true. Yeah.
alignment. It's really not that big of a deal, all things considered.
Yeah, I know for the BMW E36, what they do is they put the E46 control arms on it. So it's
Okay.
still a factory part,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
and
it's just a bigger chassis, so it's a slightly wider, and
yeah,
that's their version of an angle kit.
right, right. And I know other brands, people have come up with you use a control arm off this car, and
Yeah,
it accomplishes the goal. So yeah,
right. So I mean, I can say it sounds like all right. So we've got ideas.
yes,
The
yeah.
one thing that I like about a drift car,
Whoa, what are you doing?
I mean, I think we could be into drifting like the first event in the spring, right? Like
Yeah, oh yeah.
if we found a good shell, and when I mean shell, I mean like everything, right? A rolling car, motor, all that stuff.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
we found a good platform, maybe that's a better word to use. We could potentially have this thing ready to go for the spring and start doing drift events,
I mean, we
you
could
know,
essentially, once you pick the car, it's just there'd be
yeah,
1 to 2 weekends just dialing it in and then finding a parking lot to go play with it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so let's run through I thought about making like a list, and I don't know how I would necessarily do that on this, but let's run through a couple of the cheap cars, and let's see like what is it that we would potentially build.
I
You
mean, you
mentioned
got
a
yeah,
Mustang,
American Muscle,
yeah,
all anything from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s.
yeah.
Obviously,
Y-
manual transmission, V8, rear wheel drive. Um, Mustang. You have the
I'm going to throw the C6 out there, the C6
bitchin'
Corvette.
Camaro, and then the vet. Um,
Yeah,
those would be the top three domestics. And
hmm
then if you went European, there's really only the BMW 3 Series are the most common. You can go
yeah.
bigger and you can go other models, but the 3 Series is the go-to for that. Um,
from what I've been looking into, the E36 just takes the cake over the 46. The 46, it's just that little bit more expensive,
Yeah.
and like the 36, it's a little bit more replaceable, if you will.
Yeah.
In a sport where you could be potentially smashing into a wall,
Yeah. That's
the
true. Yeah.
the 36 is a little bit more replaceable.
Yeah.
The other, I've seen some odd suggestions like an RX-8, right? The RX-8 with the
Mhm.
rotary engine. Those motors are just meant to be driven at high RPMs, and that's
You know,
exactly what drifting is.
yeah, you could probably find one pretty cheap too. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one thing that I kind of like about some of the cars that we're talking about here, they're either a six-cylinder or an eight-cylinder, and I think that's something when we've talked about lemons or when we've talked about a champ car. One of the things I think I'm seem to remember you saying it is like, because we've almost built a lemons car like what, five times now, six
Yeah,
times.
I mean, yeah, couple
I think
times
you've even, I think
I,
you've even bought the cars, and then we've
I
never
did.
done anything
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Um, and I think so. But what I'm getting at is, you normally come up with something along the lines of like, I don't want to spend all this money on a car that I don't want to drive, and I completely agree with that. I think that makes a
yeah.
lot of sense. Like, I think a four-cylinder Jetta just isn't going to inspire me every weekend,
No.
Um,
Yeah. No. Agree.
and to that point, I think if we went maybe more on the champ side of things, if we went like a 2.5 liter Rabbit, I think that would make a great champ or champ or Lemons car right there.
Yeah.
I do
I
like the
do
idea
think
of a Beetle.
one of the I do like I love the idea of a Beetle for some reason, like for
Yeah,
champ racing. I just think it would look so cool to have a Beetle out there. You make it
yeah,
look like the Beetle Cup cars that they did, with
yeah,
like some white wheels and whatever. But the I like the whole saying. It's you can have more fun driving a slow car fast than driving a fast car slow. And a lot of
right,
these events, you're dealing with traffic and you're dealing with, us being new and, our budget's not like we don't have this $100,000 budget. So getting into it, driving a slow car fast is incredibly fun. So if anybody's listening hasn't raced, um, having a slow vehicle or one that's not, an exotic supercar and you're running it as hard as you can, it is a lot of fun. You get in a high-end car, you might be worried about breaking it. You might not be able to use all the power. Traction becomes an issue, and all these other things. And it requires a much bigger skill set, a much bigger budget, and you might not even in certain tracks you can't even use the whole power.
right.
So yeah,
Now, personally, that's why I like the idea of that, like 2.5 liter Volkswagen motor, a VR6, or like an E36 with the 2.8 in it, right? The 328, something
yeah,
like a six-cylinder in that 200, let's just call it 200 horsepower, right?
yeah,
You're not going too heavy on horsepower, but there's enough power, enough torque that like you can start going, right? The only four-cylinder I think that I would really want to start race prepping and race would be a Miata. I don't know why.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Well,
No,
I
I
do
mean,
know why, because Miatas are really great platforms when it
yeah,
comes to racing, right? They're well balanced, they're inexpensive, stuff like that. So I think a Miata is on my list. It's just on the list, it's
yeah.
not
I,
at the top.
I I think the thing about a Miata is Um, being over 6 foot in a Miata doesn't sound appealing to me. I've
Yeah,
driven, a couple different generations of the Mazdas, the 90s ones, the 2000s, and even, the newer generation ones that they're all small. So,
yeah,
um, I,
and I did think about that a little bit too. It's like, like, well, how easy is it going to be to get into and out of?
right.
I mean, we're similar heights, but we're not the same height, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's why I
you
like the
know,
Beetle. Beetle, you
yeah,
can put a roll cage in, a helmet in, and you got plenty of room. But,
right.
um, the,
All right. So we got a couple of budget cars that we can look for, and maybe it's like let's 2 seconds.
get some liquid
Sorry.
Molly in you.
Yeah, for really. um, so with the budget cars, I think probably what makes sense is we just need to kind of search in those ranges, see what comes up, and see what is really just a good buy, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then I mean, I'm guessing we'd probably end up keeping it over at your shop for the time being. Um,
Yeah, I mean, depends on, I mean, if we get a car that we could just keep road legal, we could,
yeah,
we could drive it to different things, try doing SCCA, try doing drifting, try doing everything with it. Yeah,
right.
that would be
I,
really, I think, one of the better ways to do it. Have something you can use more.
right. And I agree with that, so being able so I would almost suggest that we figure out a way that we can tow it to events. And I know we both have, tow capable vehicles. Um, only that, especially you're going to a drift event, something's probably breaking, right?
That's true.
Tire's probably popping,
Yeah, yeah,
something's probably breaking, right? Like when that happens, you can't drive it home.
yeah, yeah,
We do have AAA.
yeah, yeah,
But I think that just in that keeping the mind of like how do I get it home? I think we should. But it would be good to like, hey, just take it to an SCCA event and be able to drive it home, or something that's going to be a little bit less impact than a drift event.
yeah.
All right. So right now I'm getting the idea that you're a little bit more interested in maybe some drift events, and then it would be like Champ and Lemons would be secondary once we get a car that we feel like is a pretty good platform.
Yeah, because if we did drift events, we could also do uh autocross. Because autocross,
Yeah.
like you said, you could trailer the car there, and then so it doesn't have to be street legal, but it could be complete stock class, um,
Right.
and you could still race, and it is a lot of fun. Yeah,
Yeah. No,
just to get
absolutely.
back in the swing of things, like yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, okay, cool. So we're gonna go with the drift car for right now. We'll call it a drift
okay,
car,
yep,
right? In that 250 horsepower range kind of thing. We'll see what's the best. I like the idea of a Z, of a Nissan Z.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think there's a lot of great vehicles in that. Um, so those and we could probably get something for in that like 5 grand range.
Oh, you get one that's
Minimal
got
investment.
a fender bender or something like
Yeah,
that. We don't care what the
exactly.
body looks like per se, and you get
Yeah,
save more money. Yeah,
and then like I do like the Z a little bit more than some of the BMWs we just talked about, simply because I think we could potentially get a newer car, hopefully lower mileage, newer bushing, stuff like that. So again, that initial investment of like having to replace a bunch of stuff is a little bit
yeah,
lower. It's not like we're pulling a subframe, replacing all the bushings
yeah.
because they're rotten,
What about a
because they're
Boxster S? I know you can get like
oh
a Boxster S pretty inexpensive, and I know I fit in them,
well. So
or
with the
like just a
Boxster,
Boxster in general. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, it's a Porsche, right? Like, I'm
you
not
can get them
opposed
for
to
under
it.
10. Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely worth looking into.
yeah.
Um, my questions for you would really just be, like if we're going to drift it, what is like, what kind of
Yeah.
upgrades there are, and like how it actually does. Um, some of the cars that they've chosen are kind of inexpensive cars that like if you smash up the tail, you're just tossing them out. Like
Yeah,
I feel like a Boxster, you smash up the tail and you're like,
that's
I should
true.
probably fix this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's also where where the train. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they would even compete drifting, but I know the Boxsters the first couple of years, the 97 through 99, they had a 2.5 in them, and there's a whole different class of racing in them, and it's very, very reasonably priced. So
All right. Well, we'll have to look a little bit more into so now that we've defined that we want a drifter, we'll have to look a little bit more into the drift classes and and uh and see what fits those categories best. And go from there.
yep,
I think the Boxster would be a little bit more better for the road race, like a Champ
yeah,
car or something
100%.
like that.
Yeah, the
You know,
drifting would be tough with it. It's underpowered.
yeah,
It handles too
right.
good. It's too well balanced. It's not. It's not.
And and that's kind of something I was thinking about is like what the research that I've done on drifting is you really don't need a lot of power. You need enough power to make the wheel slip, basically,
Yeah.
right?
You need to
Um,
put shitty tires on it and all that.
but if you put too much power too early, you're just going to be tail happy. The tail's going to go all over the place. You won't be able to like you're going to be learning too much, right? You're going to have to deal with the throttle and the steering rather than like just being full throttle and only
Yeah.
dealing with steering, you know.
Yeah.
um, and that might be a slight exaggeration, but you guys get the idea here. Um, all right, so race prep wise, now if we're talking drift car, we're talking a lot different race prep here than if we were talking a Champ car, right? Or a Lemons car, right? For drifting,
Just to get you out and running, yeah, the drift car would be cheaper to get you there on the weekend versus,
yeah,
I think certain drift events, I think they want you to have kill switches and fire extinguishers, but I don't even know if you need that. I think,
I think,
it,
yeah,
go.
I think if you're running solo and you're not running tandem, you just need most people put in a cage simply because of where just to keep the harnesses safe because
Yep.
you want the harnesses to go straight back rather than like down,
Yep.
right? um so most people put in like a bolt in hoop simply because of that. They change out the seat. They put like a quick connect steering wheel on so they don't look at the goofy airbag
Yep.
looking at them all the time.
Mhm.
And I think they pretty much send it from that.
Yeah.
um
Hydraulic rear brake lever and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah, and I think a lot of people you can do it without the hydraulic rear brake lever. Again, to be a little bit more cheaper. If that's something that you want, you can start to learn how to drift with the
Mhm.
stock handbrake, and then move up to the hydraulic.
Yeah,
If you
I
needed to.
feel like I wouldn't want to even go out there unless I had the hydraulic rear
True.
brakes because I
Yeah,
feel like you got to initiate that initial, you know, drift and then you just lose some traction and then that makes it a
absolutely. Yeah,
lot easier. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. The better set up you are for the course, the better you're going to be. All right, so we need a hydraulic. We need a hydraulic handbrake. We'll need a racing seat, right? So that we're not sliding around.
Definitely. Yeah.
Whatever we get, we'll need. I like the idea of the hoop and harnesses, right?
Yep.
Um, and really, if we're drifting, we probably want to look into some sort of angle kit. And then what it seems like people basically buy like they buy a set of wheels and they just stick them on the rear and they just run factories up front.
Okay. Yeah.
Simply it's one to kind of tell the difference. But what I've seen is like you want really sticky tires in the front and really slidey tires in the back.
Yep.
Um, and so
If we pick the right
make sure you can
car,
steer.
I I can get tires, so we can get plenty of used tires cheap. I'll just keep stacking the right
Right.
size, and you're good to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I like the idea too. It's like the BMW just weld the diff and then it's like there you go.
Yeah. Well, a lot of
You're
rear-wheel
good to
drive
go.
cars, you just weld the diff. Um,
Yeah. I
so
kind of like the idea of like a late 90, like like that 65 remake body look. I can't think of what that was probably like 2005, 2008.
a Mustang, the
Yeah.
N95, what do they call them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're out there. There's plenty of them out there. Yeah.
So,
So probably under
all right.
that 3 grand mark. Yeah.
Now, if we were doing a champ car or if we were running tandems, it's going to have to, the prep is going to have to increase. Oh, you know what else we need to do? We need to drain the coolant and we need to run water wetter
Right.
instead of coolant.
Yeah.
That's one of the track requirements.
Yep. Yep.
Um, because we can't spill antifreeze on the track. Um, and then, all right, so we're doing that. Now, if we're doing champs or we're doing tandems, drifting tandems, or if we're doing lemons, what are some of the requirements that you're familiar with that are different?
Oh yeah. So obviously any sanctioned race event where you're wheel-to-wheel racing, you do have to have the roll cage, the thickness of the cage, the diameter The way that where they're bent and where they're connected has to be follow a very there's some leeway as far as different styles, but there's pages and pages of the way the roll cage has to be to meet the demands of that
Right.
particular racing sanctioned event. So um, whereas I've been to a couple drift events, and it's my just looking at the cars and seeing what people run, it seems like that's way more forgiving. So because you're not the ones I was at, you weren't wheel to wheel. It was just it's individuals just going around the inner course of a
Right.
here at Pocono Raceway, and they were having a blast, but there was people
Yeah.
with cars that seemed pretty stock, and then there was people that were all out.
And that's what I do like about drifting is just being able to be in that like stockish, gut the interior and
Yeah,
slide the rear. Um,
yeah. And any road course racing, you're obviously also more concerned about the endurance of the vehicle. So you would really have to give the car of like any car you're wanting to make sure it's tip top shape. But if you're doing road racing, you might flush the brake fluid between every race. You might, um, change the
true.
oil after every race. You might, or make every two races. You're going to be a much higher maintenance, and you're going to be way more on top of things. If your brakes are 50%, you're going to replace the brakes. Whereas drifting, if they're 50%, you might be fine for the season. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Um, like you mentioned on the last podcast, you mentioned, oh yeah, you got to toss some new wheel bearings in. I could see like every year doing a new set of wheel bearings for some of those endurance races, right?
I mean, if you're racing at top speeds for 8 to 10 to 12 to 24 hours, yeah, the
Yeah,
wheel bearings are going to be singing by the time you're done, maybe. Yeah.
yeah. And just saying that 8 to 10 hours, I mean, that sounds wild, right? Like that that
Yeah,
that's an investment in itself, right there, right?
it is. It is. It sounds
It's like
crazy,
wow,
but it to me it's almost just as fun to be like in the pit crew and building the car and rooting on a team as the
right?
actual racing. I think it all
Yeah.
the whole weekend sounds like an experience.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think that's what I think both of us have been drawn to a little bit is like that idea of
Yeah.
assembling a team and having a car. And like, I mean, it would be nice. Like, I think I've seen people have rentals or extra cars or whatever else. And, it would be cool to either jump on somebody else's team and just be a driver for a couple of hours or,
Yeah.
um, the hardest part with that really is like you said, it's head to head, it's other cars on the track, and you get somebody that fancies themselves as a hot driver, and they're not.
Right,
they
right.
could
Or
they could end
or
it
even
pretty
if they
quickly for
even if
everybody.
someone loses a tire or
Right?
their brakes give out or there's something happens or you get
Yeah.
smoke screened or something happen there's chances of things happening now.
No.
Major
Absolutely. Yeah.
catastrophic accidents, it's rare these days, but an accident can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then the other nice thing too about drifting, well, I guess maybe for champs we'd be able to keep all the glass in, but I know for lemons we'd have to remove the glass.
Champs, I
And
think you got champs the windshield you can have, everything else has to be removed. Yeah.
just then the hard part about that is we'd have to find covered storage for the car because it has no windows.
You can put Lexan in.
Oh well, yeah. Sorry. So
Yeah.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
put Lexan in, but I'm thinking on that like on that budget friendly side of things. Like
Yeah.
are we really putting Lexan in right away, or are we just
I
taking the
don't
windows
think
out?
Lexan's that expensive. I would just do it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to sit in an
Yeah,
open car like that for 8 hours.
I mean that's true too. All the extra, well, you got a helmet on, but all the extra wind
Yeah.
noise and
It's
everything.
my it's my understanding talking to people that do it. You want air conditioning, you want heat, and you want as comfortable as possible. Because for the couple horsepower you
Yeah,
lose, having a little bit of air conditioning or seat or whatever is worth it. You're out there for hours upon hours, so you want to be
yeah,
comfortable. Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um, Let me look at my notes really quick here. I lose them.
Yeah. So we just have to figure out what we want to do, um, and
Right.
pull the
Well, I
trigger.
mean, I think now we're looking for a car, right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
building a drift car. We've decided on drifting, right?
yep. All
For
right.
the initial, let's start to learn the car. And honestly, this is kind of what I was thinking is um before we came to drift, I was like, you know what? If we built a Lemons, because that's what we've been talking about for the most part, right? If we built a Lemons, I was like, we're gonna have to start to learn how to drive that car. Like we're gonna have to like take it to height events or whatever it happens to be, short little sections just to make sure like, hey, can it last for 2 hours on a track? Can it
Yeah,
last
yeah,
can it last for 3 laps on a track?
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
are we going to get brake fade or like what else is going to happen?
yeah.
Um, so so I liked the idea of just getting out there. And the nice thing too is like many events you can still register with one car with two drivers, which is obviously what we do. But the
Yeah,
other end of that too is like if I'm not available one weekend, you can always take your car. If
right.
you're not
Right.
available one weekend, I can always take your car or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's cool. So I think we should also look at a schedule and figure out like what
I,
event are we
I,
trying to make,
I did try to see. There's no one has posted next year's schedules yet.
right?
Um,
I'm sure we won't get
so,
that
yeah,
until next year, really. But
yeah.
um,
I mean, they could do it as early as January, February, because they're already trying to book dates and get
right.
stuff figured out. But yeah, nothing's posted yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure to an extent, most of these places probably have their dates roughed in,
Yeah,
right? Because like I talked to NJMP for a little bit because I was thinking about renting the track out, with the car
yeah,
club. Everybody, it's not like I'd
yeah.
pay for it
I,
personally.
I, I,
I'd
I
rent it out to a
contacted
bunch of people, but
I contacted Pocono Raceway to see a price too.
yeah,
We kept playing phone tag, so I never got a number on it. Yeah,
right. And it's normally like, okay, cool. Well, you can pick from these minuscule select dates that are all midweek.
yeah. I
Or
figured I would do it midweek
yeah,
anyway, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So um all right, so the build of these things, they remind me a lot of stunt cars. Um, it's so cool. Like if you've seen Death Proof, Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, they have the one car. It has the Lexan in it for the camera port. Like you can just
okay,
set up the camera. That way, when the car rolls, none of the camera stuff will fall off and hit the driver or whatever else.
yeah,
Um, the cages for that really don't have any requirements outside of what the stuntman wants, right? It's like, well, we're going to hit the door, so we want to reinforce the door a little bit more, or um, or it's going to roll this way, so we want to make
yeah.
sure we make sure
Yeah, I
it
know
can
that
accept an
obviously
impact on that side.
you know, but it's going to be each stunt car is going to be specific to what they're trying to do
Yeah,
that task. Is the car falling on the
right.
driver's side? Is it rolling? Is it, front end collision? That all those things are what they take into
Yeah.
account.
And
Yeah.
I mean, they're welders, but a lot of times, racetrack roll cages are certified, right? There's a specific thickness and all that stuff. Stunt guys, they just kind of figure it out. Like, well, we'll just use the thickest bar, you know.
Yeah, possibly, very possibly. Yeah.
um, I am kind of curious how many of them. I know some local guys that have built stunt cars, and I should talk to them a little bit more about what they've done and what requirements they actually adhere to. The interesting thing is for a lot of these events, for the race events, you need to have fire suppression in the car, right?
Hmm.
And generally, in a stunt car, you're probably not going to do that because that's something extra that could roll around in the car. Um, but fire suit, right? Fire gloves, helmet, visor.
Yeah.
You need the chamois too, right?
Yeah.
Um, might have to shave. You need the fireproof socks and shoes. It's
Yeah,
a
and that's the
lot
other thing.
as a
Drifting,
racer,
you don't need all that stuff.
right?
Versus you have to have the full suit. You have to have, the fire suppression system. So there's a lot of extra that I think I touched on a little bit, but everything is required for all those other races. Yeah.
Yeah, and it can get expensive. I think some of those suits are like $300-400, right? I haven't looked into them recently.
Yeah,
The
three
fire
to five
the
hundred
fireproof
dollars.
suits.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and they're kind of like in that expensive range of if you've got a team of people, everybody has to have one, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Or you go the cheap route and hopefully everybody's the same size and you share, and then you're
Yeah.
in somebody else's sweat.
That's the whole thing is, yeah, by the end of the race, it's just sweat, and that's pretty gnarly. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so so we're looking at some sort of date. Well, you want to call a month? Well, since we don't have any events up, do you want to call a month that we'd like to be ready for?
Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. So
Um,
right right we'll do late November, right after Thanksgiving. Yeah.
oh, you want to be ready that early?
Oh, ready. I thought we
Yeah,
were gonna do another. Oh, so what we'll just talk weekly, but
yeah,
we'll okay.
yeah. Like, well, we should start looking for a car, right?
Yeah.
And when assuming we buy a car, when do we want to have this car, prepped and ready to go for an event?
Uh I mean, if you don't want to buy it now and then sit on it, so I think well, it is a bad timing. I think we can start looking and maybe um, see what's out there.
Yeah.
But we're not going to truly be able to do anything at this point until March unless we travel south.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, and I was thinking the same thing we take this time, we find the right car. Now, again, if we were building more of that Lemons car, I thought like buy it sooner. It gives us time to strip it. It gives us time to get
yeah,
the roll cage built and all that stuff. If we're talking drift car, which we are now, I think, maybe we start looking in March, hopefully buy something by April, and we're on the track by May.
yeah. And I mean,
Okay.
you could probably look. There's probably places down in like Georgia and Alabama and things like that
Yeah,
that probably do it year round if you really wanted to. Yeah,
that's true. When winter comes, it's hard for me
yeah,
to step
yeah,
away.
yeah.
I've got snowboard commitments all winter long.
Yep, yep.
And then the other thing I thought about too is like maybe we enjoy the drift car as a drift car, and we get another car as we get another car as the champ car or the you know
Definitely. Yeah. Um,
just
I think it'd be fun just to get out of her system and then, say, do
right.
we like it or not? Or, uh, you know, um,
Yeah,
see how the events go, see what the crowd's like, see what the people are like,
that's
and
true.
see what the true vibe is like. Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably make plans to just go to a Lemons race as a spectator.
That would actually be fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Like just go and see the vibe and see if that's something that we really wanted to do. You seem to have a couple of connections of people that race in the Lemons races anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Had had a few conversations with people that have done it. And it's like it does seem like it becomes a little bit of an obsession with some people. They that's all they want to talk about, think about, or do. So,
Right.
you know, you say, oh, you start talking about it, and that's every time you see him, you're talking about it. Yeah,
I mean, I might become that guy.
yeah.
um, I'll see you at Thanksgiving. We'll be talking about cars. I'll show you all the ones we bought. I mean, I'm definitely going to be sending you cars for the next 3 months, 4 months anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we'll have to do a little bit of research on which of the budget cars we think might fit our driving styles a little bit better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I kind of like that idea of the 350Z. Now that we talk about it a little bit more, I think we'll get something a little bit more like less beat up, less,
Mhm.
everything should be a little bit newer, suspension wise and all that stuff. Um, but we'll keep looking. And yeah, what else?
I think we hit almost everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah. All right,
yeah,
cool. Well,
we'll have to follow up and we see what we find.
yeah, so that sounds good. All right, cool. Well, thanks for coming out tonight,
Yep.
and I'm looking forward to this race car. I'm thinking too is what I might do is once we get this car built and we have projects that we know we want to accomplish over a weekend or whatever else, I'm gonna get this I'm gonna video the whole thing of us
Oh,
building
yeah,
it, throwing wrenches at each other.
definitely, do like time lapse of like,
Yeah,
whatever work we're working on. Yeah.
yeah. There is this guy, Kent, shoot, what's his name? He's got I'll try and find it and I'll send it to you. But he has a bunch of E30s, BMW E30s that he's putting basically every Volkswagen motor in. He like oh
Okay.
07K swapped. He put a 5 liter in an E30. He put a 1.8T in an E30. Um,
Okay.
and he's just enjoying doing that right now.
Okay. He's just doing weird
So
swaps just because. Yeah.
he's like you. He's like a Volkswagen. I mean, he's like us, right? He's a Volkswagen guy, but he really likes the rear wheel drive E30
Mhm.
platform,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's where I'm coming to too. Is like I do like Volkswagen. I like the Volkswagen
Yeah.
motors. I like a lot of what they have, but I want rear wheel drive. So the only way to really get that is to move over to either a BMW or something that's rear wheel drive, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're gonna have more fun on a track too. Just that simple like front wheel drive push into turns, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know if taking a car around I've been fortunate enough. I went to a couple extreme motor experiences where you're driving exotic cars around the track, and the getting those cars at those speeds and feeling the rear wheels slip around is always it's always awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, for those of you guys watching live, we're gonna put this out on Spotify. It'll land next Thursday. So definitely feel free to tune into that. Check out vehicles and videos on Spotify. Uh, and stay tuned for video footage and more of us building a car.
Yes. Whatever it may be. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll stay tuned. Let us know. I'm going to put up a poll. What do you think we should build? I'm going to stick with a drift car, right? A drift car options. So let us know in the
Yeah.
poll. What do you think we should build?
All right. Perfect.
All
And
right,
then I'm
cool.
just going to throw it out there real quick. But also, whatever we buy, I think we should just make sure we're going to test it a little bit at like autocrosses and different events like that, because
Yeah,
that just opens up the window of just getting seat time, getting comfortable with the car,
right.
and things like that. Because you can essentially take anything that's going to pass the safety test to an autocross.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like
yeah.
you could be a Yugo or a Cadillac, and you can autocross it. So.
I love that. And I mean, remember that 944 that used to race with us? It was completely breeze prepped, loud
Oh
as
yeah,
hell.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that made me think about. I was like, that would be a great track car. I'm not sure how well it drifts, but that'd be a
No,
great
yeah,
track
no,
car.
yeah.
But all right, cool. Well, again, thank you guys for coming out for vehicles and videos. Till next time, I'm Brandon.
Brinton here, corner.
Tune in somewhere here
Yeah.
for the next video. I'll see you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.